All right. What up, everybody? How are you out there, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Thinker Saint James back again, a little Yamma Talk Live. Once again, joined by my good friend and a man who, to my knowledge, has not requested to be pegged by Paige Van Zant, Chase Parton. How you doing, brother?
Bro, I am living it up. Always a good time to show up. That was probably one of the better intros I've had, man.
Let's go.
All right.
So, we both independently, but in spirit together, watched 301. What'd you think?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. 300, like, it did set us up for failure for the ones to come. Like, but,
Yeah,
dude, it
failure, you
was
think? I
good.
mean,
No, no, no. But that's what everybody was making it seem like. My bad. Let me not. Let me not.
hmm
But 301 was good. I liked it.
I mean, it was a little bit sleepier. I mean, the atmosphere in the building was sleepy with the
Did you
12
notice how
people.
dark the crowd was?
They made it especially dark considering there was no one there.
I
You know,
noticed that so quick. I was like, wow, they are just in the void fighting right now. Like,
there
geez.
was there was one time, I watched with Vitz King and the homie Chaos was over as well. We were all chilling. There was one point where during one of the introductions, I just started counting all of the seats in the back. I think I got up to like 15 seats that were. Also, the other thing in that arena too that was funny. I'll talk about it on the Yamma episode, but like the thing is that those seats in the arena were bright ass red, so it was just like spot the red, the red
Yeah,
dot.
bro. Jesus, they learned from that, I guess, because I didn't see one single seat out there. I didn't even see a single person. They hit
Yeah,
everybody. Even
it
though
was.
even I would have been hit out there. Like, fuck.
Yeah, legit, man. No, it was a very quiet affair in the building. Apparently because Madonna was in town and took 1.5 million Brazilians out of the out of the viewing population.
Jesus Christ! And then we just saw what she did on Twitter.
What did she?
Fucking,
Oh, did she do something crazy?
oh man, yeah, she did some crazy, weird. I don't know, man. I don't know what Madonna be doing. I guess it's not crazy and weird for her, but people were tweeting about
Was
it.
it in Brazil? Was it from that show?
I mean, I want to say because it just happened. Like they were like a couple hours ago, probably.
Yeah, very
Or
very well
well,
could have
last
been.
night would make more sense, I guess. Or
Yeah,
would it? Jeez, I don't know. What day is it?
I know, right? It's Monday already, so that would have been
Wow.
2 nights ago. But either way, I mean, she's probably still lurking in the area and doing some crazy shit. You're right, is not out of the question for Madonna. But anyway, so 301. Yeah, I mean, it was. I would say that there were some. It was one of those cards that had standout performances. As opposed to being like a massively amazing card overall. That would be my assessment.
I think another thing that made it really good for me is I was finally betting. I was finally back, man. Let's
Well,
go.
and we've talked about it on the stream during some of the events, but I'll say it here as well. Now that sports betting is officially legal in the state of Florida, so was I,
Yeah, let's
motherfucker.
go. Okay,
No more
okay.
Monopoly money.
Wow. Okay, let's go. So
So
starting off with the card, did
yeah,
you bet on the first fight or no?
no, I did not bet on the Borjas fight. It was one I was a little bit gun shy on just because of how new both of the guys were. This is something that I've got to have in my mind going forward. In general, I mean, I've always kind of had it, but going forward, it's going to be especially something that you need to keep firmly planted in the brain. Is that do not let the Discord sway your opinions, because sometimes these motherfuckers be talking mad reckless, and sometimes they're right. I mean, I was we'll talk about it when we get to it, but there were a couple of them that I got completely had my ass handed to me as far as my picks went. But either which way, because I mean the Borjas fight would have been one of those. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, definitely. Actually, it went the right way. I would have bet I would have bet the whole house on Kevin Borjas. He lost to
Mm.
Josh Van. I can't give you a reason why he wouldn't be good. Josh Van's great, so you lose to somebody great, give you a second chance. And he was doing good the first round and a half, guys. So anyway,
Well, unfortunately,
yeah,
well,
no,
I
the
mean,
odds were great. I will say this: the
and they're
odds
saying they gave
makers.
him performance of the night too. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. The odds makers, they got it right tonight. They were cooking us. That all the favorites got it right up until Anthony Smith, which I even was saying it. Like if Ehor didn't win, if Paul Craig didn't win, we're in the bad world, man. Anthony Smith is coming for this W, guys. Like Jesus, I knew
Well,
it.
I think it was you who said it, that like Anthony Smith's about here to come and wreck everybody's parlays. Like he's about to to turn everything on its ear, and lo and behold.
But anyway, so Alejandro, great
Hmm.
performance, bro. Came out, Diego Lopez behind him, which found out was a great thing. And
Yeah.
came out and cooked them leg kicks, man. Might have got a leg kick TKO if the dude wasn't, if Borjas wasn't just, able to take it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was a solid performance. Definitely a nice, a nice way to make an entrance. I mean, these guys coming off the Contender Series. It's that again. This is why I stayed away from that fight, is because a lot of times, I mean, as early as they are in their career, you have some great standout highlight reel moments. It's like it can be color your vision as to like the bigger picture. Sometimes these guys can pull off some amazing things against lesser talent. Let's be honest about it. So you like to see it on the big stage, and he definitely proved that he's got potential. So really nice win for him. Borjas, I mean, this is
Not a
shaky
good look.
ground. Yeah,
Not
not
a
a good
good
look.
look.
So I guess what's the next move? I mean, I would assume that they're not going to one and out him. But after something like that happens, it is it's questionable as to what the next matchup would be. I guess we're just gonna have to see what they end up throwing at him, putting on his plate.
Did you see the second fight?
I guess, yeah. Well, the only
Well,
fight that I missed any of, I did not even miss any of the fight. I briefly nodded off after the Caio Bahio fight for only a moment.
wow.
Only a
That
moment.
didn't get you up?
We were
Wow.
we had just eaten. I take it fully upon myself. I was glad that Vitz King got me right back into it, but it was a bad look. But every other fight I was right there for. So yes, I did see the I did see the second fight. Actually, a nice fight, that one. I quite enjoyed the second fight.
So I was trying to get Badger on it this time. So this whole fight, I was fucking with the thing. So I have no idea what happened in this one.
Oh, the Bonfim. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
this was a really it was a good performance for Bonfim. Vince Pichel is so tough, man. I mean, like he is one of these guys that like he's out here taking some crazy shots. I mean, I think it was that fight that he took a head kick, and in my chat, the homie Pube was saying, he's like, how the fuck did he eat that head kick and just is still going? It was that kind of fight. So you take that shot and just stretch it out over the entire fight. He was taking some crazy stuff. Really, the only thing I will say about Vince is that he did not turn it on himself at all. Like it was a lackluster performance on his part. I think he was showing how durable he is. He was not showing necessarily any of his own offense, which I think really just let Ismail Bonfim just kind of have a blank canvas.
Show
Now,
out.
yeah, well, but see, that's the thing. That's what I was just going to lead into, is that like if you look at it from that perspective, perhaps not the greatest of performances from Bonfim. Did go to decision, but overall, I mean, solid win. And Vince has been around for a while. I mean, I've seen him fight a couple of times at this point. A good Vince is one of those guys that it's a very appropriate fight for the stage of Bonfim's career. So, I mean, I think that overall it was a good showing. I mean, he was getting his shots in. He was moving nicely. All the things you want to see. Didn't get the finish. Would have liked to maybe seen a little bit more towards that end, but throwing with intention. Overall, really a solid showing. Him and the other Bonfim, those the brothers, man, they're ones to
Oh,
watch
there's
out
another
for.
one?
There is, yeah. It's Ismail, and what's I always forget his brother's name.
Is it
I got all
Ivo?
Is that what it is?
No. Am I thinking? No way.
Yeah, Gabriel is the
No,
other
okay.
one.
I was like, okay, no. Ibo's, yeah, okay. That's the dude who beat Pleasure Man.
Oh yeah, the pleasure, man. God, Turkali's about to be backpacking off to whatever promotion they got over in
Yep.
Sweden, right?
So you still run it.
Yeah, for
Um,
real.
and
But
then,
yeah,
okay.
nice one overall, I would say. But
So the
this
next
fight
one,
bothered the fuck out of me. Go ahead and
dude. Okay,
tell me what
so
you thought.
I was big on Arnesta.
I know
Okay,
you were,
I'm
yeah.
over here telling everybody, I'm like, okay, she's gonna cook, man. She's gonna cook. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. And then the first round. Okay, first round and a half. Okay, maybe even first two, since she did lose. She was getting kind of outclassed or whatever. But that third round, man, she was coming back. She was putting in some good work, and then she got robbed. Oh my goodness, she got robbed. Like
I
it's
mean,
crazy.
robbed you? Like, I mean,
No, she got robbed. I don't know, man. I was watching it. Okay,
you think that you think she won that fight?
I think there's a slight chance she could have won.
No
No,
fucking way. You are out of your mind.
Unanimous was wild.
You are out of your
No.
mind, my friend. No
And
way.
this is where it comes
Rewatch
to
that
it, though.
fight.
And this is where it comes to it, though. I had money down, so she was going to
Okay.
win no matter what in my mind. She was going to
Fair.
win no matter what in my mind.
Fair, I got you on that. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, what I remember during our stream, what I kept saying to Vitz, I was like, the way she is fighting is infuriating me, because at least in the towards the end, you are right, she did start to come back a little bit. You can give her that third round. I'd say if she if she dropped the first two, you can 29-28, that I'll accept that. However, in that second round, my thing was, she was, and I preface this by saying I try to be as fair as possible with these assessments at all times. So this is not me, trying to disrespect a professional fighter. She was showing low fight IQ, in my opinion. I mean, she at the time when, especially after dropping the first round, because I believe it was that second round where Barbosa was on her back, and she's sitting there peppering her legs with these little nothing kicks, not going to the ground. You know what it's like.
Sure.
Either stand her up.
Now that you actually made me remember, no, she was bullshitting with those leg kicks. She was really being stupid. Why she didn't get her to stand up? Why the ref let that go on was actually kind of fucking wild. Like,
I mean,
two different occasions she did that. Maybe even three she did that leg kick. Fucking shit.
Yeah, she's sitting there tapping it. I mean, she's tapping it like she's trying to get her to wake up. I mean, it's like there was no intention to anything, and you could tell that the gears were not turning toward. Like, this is something that I talk about a lot. When breaking down the fights in real time, I talk about how what you're in fighting in general, what you're trying to do is set up a sequence of events to get to a finish. That should always be your main driving focus, right? So if you're going out there and you're a striker, it should be, how am I getting to the point where the striking gets the finish? If you're a grappler, if you're a wrestler, how is the sequence in the chain getting me towards the submission, right? I mean, or the combination of both thus mixed martial arts. You could tell, like, just looking at the body language and the way that she was conducting herself in those times when she had the opportunity to be, advancing to something that would have made sense. She was like just deer in the headlights almost to an extent. I do realize that she took a decent amount of what Barbosa was throwing at her in the first, so maybe she got a little bit gun shy, maybe she got a little bit overwhelmed. All of that being said, it doesn't equal up to a performance that was inspiring in any stretch.
So here's what I'm gonna say. Back to nothing, actually. But she was 5-0. She has not much experience here. So, and then she gets thrown into the top level. The UFC is the best promotion.
What was Barbosa's record coming in though?
Let's see it. Because it's either one or the other. Like, I don't think you're ever gonna see somebody come in. Well, maybe they do come in very often, and they're actually just not super great, and they're just not super terrible.
Yeah, she was 7-1. So yeah, she was 7-1 at the time. This is updated. So yeah,
6-2.
Or sorry, yes, yeah, sorry, yeah, 6-2, or 6-2. Gee, yeah. Brain freeze there for a second. Yes, correct. Sorry. So I mean, so a little bit more experience there for sure.
Well,
so she was 5-0. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So,
okay.
But back to my point of inexperience. So the thing that you're talking about, that can be fixed in a camp. Like, that is, she just knows not to fucking do the leg kick dumb shit. Make her stand up. Make the ref have to do that. She maybe is just not familiar with the fucking. I don't know. I gotta see it again. Give her another chance.
Oh yeah. No. That she can certainly come back and redeem herself.
She
absolutely.
Didn't get subbed.
That's true. Yeah. Taking it to decision is fine. I mean, there were flex in there. It's like you said, towards the end she started to figure it out a little bit. but it was just too little too late by that point. And I think by that point, I think I was already a little bit checked out anyway, because I was just like, this is not, and honestly, we're focusing a lot on Ernesta, but I mean, it wasn't exactly like a fireworks performance from Barbosa either. So, I mean, there's potential for both of them to fix the holes in the game a little bit, but overall, I mean, it was a little bit of a snoozer, and I was just getting very frustrated watching Ernesta in those sequences where I was like, you could do so much more here. It's like when you have, I mean, Barbosa, Brazilian, jiu-jitsu, we get it. We understand. You might not necessarily want to go down to the ground with her if you have the choice not to, but if you're not going to do that, stand her the fuck up. And then get yourself back. Hit the reset button. Get yourself back into focus mode.
She was actually taking more of the damage on the knees when Barbosa was like fucking defending and just kicking her knees in. Like, that shit looked like it hurts. Like, god damn. I mean,
yeah, for sure. And I mean, and there have been times like, and what I was saying about that, her peppering the legs too, Ernesta, is that we've seen times where those kinds of leg kicks, you can get some decently damaging shots in if you place them correctly, but you have to be you have to be throwing with intention. It's what I was saying about like the deer in the headlights. It's like, if you have to have a plan at all times. You know what I mean? Protect yourself at all times. Have a plan at all times.
Right.
So it's like, if you see that this is what you are being presented with, know what to do in that set of circumstances.
No, you're speaking facts for real.
So, all right. So, that's that one. We'll see what both of them come up with going forward in the future here. But yeah, Mr. Roofy.
Dude, I saw this one coming from a mile away.
You did.
I wish they would show the odds. Like, geez, I don't know what happened for this one and Ernesta.
Yeah.
But yeah, he smoked him. Like, not even. It wasn't anything. Ruffy's a beast, man.
Who's fighting again? Oh, yeah, right, Malarkey. Yeah, we. I think everybody was. We were even saying the same thing on the stream. It's like everybody was talking about this fight like it was already a foregone conclusion that Malarkey was going to lose.
Not even just lose. Like, I figured he was gonna get put down again. Like, he's fighting before the dude who knocked him out. Like,
yeah, legit. That's a good point. And I mean, you could see he was. Roofy was a pretty heavy favorite.
That's not even like as crazy as it should have been. I think. I mean, well,
not like the Anthony Smith odds. You fucking get that was the disrespect of those odds. But hey, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. I mean, so real. I mean, as far as the style that he has, I mean, we've all said it. I think Dean Thomas said it on the commentary. Got those early trappings of a young Conor in the way that he conducts himself in the cage. I mean, he's got that wide stance. I mean, he throws nicely at range, which is impressive. I mean, good movement from the guy. It's going to be interesting to see. And knowing that he is fighting with those fighting nerds, man, those guys are the ones to watch right now, eh?
Hey, I said it too, man. The fighting nerds, I'm on board. John Silver would have got the dub too, man. They didn't let it happen though.
Briefly to. Yeah, no, yeah, right. Yeah. 2 for 2 could have been 3 for 3. But briefly to touch on that, so what was up with the Gomes weight cut, huh?
I have no idea what happened there. I'm so confused on why he was under. Like, not even just under, but way under. Dude.
Significantly under. And I looked a little bit into it as I was doing research for the YAMMA episode. The only thing that, I mean, I don't think that he's come out with a statement yet. I mean, maybe I might have missed it if
probably
he did.
In the hospital or something.
I mean, legit, I think that's basically what ended up happening is that, like, he, I don't know what the reasoning for all of it was, but, like, I saw the video clip of the weigh-ins, and, I mean, the dude was struggling to make it to the scale. He was struggling off the scale, and it was just, like, pretty much right after the weigh-in. He didn't even raise his hands, he didn't even fucking, to flex on the scale. It was just like, please get me the fuck out of here. And, thankfully for everyone's sake, I think, he was granted that.
Once I saw that way, like we were talking about it in the Discord. And once I saw the video, I was pretty much under the assumption it was not about to happen. Like, that was pretty freaking crazy. We talked about bad weight cuts in the past that I didn't get to see, but I don't know. That's kind of new. That's kind of new.
What's so crazy about it is exactly what you brought up. The fact that it's not only that it was a bad weight cut, it was that why he cut to that level, to that extent. I mean, that's like what would signal to me like a sickness of some sort. I mean, usually if you're trying to cut to the letter of the weight, to the exact decimal place of the weight. I mean, like you don't need to be cutting anything over that. I mean, so like for him to come in so much, because what he was like 3 under, right?
I think so it was 2 officially, but he had clothes on.
Right.
So
Yeah. That, I mean, good lord, 2 pounds under with clothes. That's insane. So yeah, he had to have been 3 to 3.2 ish in that that range, something like that. So good lord. Hopefully, Mr. Gomez is figuring out how to cut weight properly next time.
So who's his team? Where is his
He is
team?
out of
Is his
France.
coach like a known person that has had people make weight before? Like what? How does that even happen? Like I am
I
just so because my first thought as a John Silva fan, I'm like, oh, this dude's trying to duck. But then I think more into it. Like there's just no way you cut 2 extra. You cut that much. Like he would be feeling good if he was ready to like if he would have made weight, he probably would have been fine.
He's
But
out of MMA Factory. I mean, that is a team that is decently reputable, I believe. Unless that's the MMA Factory, specifically France, because he's fighting out of France. He's a French fighter. Um, we've talked about that in the past. Yeah, okay, it is the one out of France. Yeah, okay, I was mistaking them for a different one. And the factory, I believe, is one out of I think that's California. But we've talked about the newness of MMA in these developing countries as far as the sport is concerned. Obviously, France is
right.
a developed country, but in MMA terms, France, an emerging market. I mean, maybe there is something to be said there. That is a valid criticism that his team should have been more on top of that. There are maybe circumstances that we're not fully privy to at this time or this point. I guess who's to say? We'll have to see what information comes out in the future. But it is concerning when you have these countries and and teams that are from these markets that aren't as fully immersed in the sport, because things like that are more likely to occur, sad to say.
Right. Okay.
So
Such
yeah,
a suck.
right, exactly. Unfortunate thing. Hopefully they figure it out. But yeah, I mean, really, all of the, I mean, God, right now, who the French fighter that to get behind is what, Manon? I mean, that's
Gone.
uh, please. I don't think that anybody is too
No,
hot
but
on Cyril.
I like Fior too.
Yeah.
Manon,
Furo is.
whatever her name is.
That's what I say. Manon Furo.
Manon.
Yeah, she's I'd say that currently the hope, her and Benoit, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
that's true. BSD. Yeah,
yeah,
he'll be
but
back soon too. I think. Well, he just get knocked out. Maybe not. He'll probably do something dumb and come back and get knocked out again. But
I mean, if he can get that staph infection out of his system, I don't see why not. I think that's one of the biggest what could have been scenarios that we've had in quite a while is what would have happened
yeah,
if he had come in healthy.
Dustin's coming in for the belt, man. That's crazy.
Hey, how about that? Huh? The fact that he's getting his title shot could be his last fight. That's been rumored now. Seeing that in the rumor mill.
All
But
right.
yeah. So anyway, long story short is that these countries that are not fully ensconced in the sport yet, these kinds of things will happen to them or with them until they become more gain a greater foothold in the sport. So hopefully that this can be a learning experience for the MMA of France.
All
That being said, let's go
right.
back to this
Next.
card. Back up to it. All right. So
Oh gosh, this one.
Joaquim Silva versus Jakar Close. We talked a good amount about Jakar in the Discord. What did you think?
Um, honestly, nothing really. Okay, there's one memorable moment from it when he, tried to get out of the guillotine by jumping on his freaking head, but that was about it from it. I kind of see why he's not getting a big push after having such a good record. Like, I mean, I don't looking on paper, you would think this dude's okay. He's pretty nice. Been here for a while. Doesn't lose often. But I mean, he's just kind of boring. I don't know. Like,
Well, I mean, I think that speaks to the level that Joaquim Silva's at, I would hope, right? I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't making it easy for him.
Yeah, I get you. And I had money on this one too. Like I was ready for Drakkar to win. I knew I figured, hey, look at the record. So anyway, it just wasn't doing it for me. Like
You
wow,
were nail biting for a little bit there, huh?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a solid win for him. Again, it's what we were saying about going in with the trying to get the finish. I mean, I think that he was doing the best he could with what he was being presented with, because it's like Silva wasn't making it super easy for him. I mean, he was doing his thing. But solid victory overall. One that yeah, I mean, basically it when I go to do the YAMMA scripts, I like look over the entire card and like pick out the fights that have things to say about. This would be a fight that I wouldn't have much to say about, and
yep.
probably will not be mentioning in the upcoming episode. So,
Or
eh.
in the upcoming ever, yeah, probably.
Yeah, right. But I mean, look, I would like to, like, if Drakkar wants to be more active, then this is a nice way to keep yourself in some type of conversation, some element of the conversation. Another win on the record. Nothing bad about that. Go out there and show out in the next fight. Sharpen up a little bit. Maybe it's something to keep an eye on going forward.
Right.
Back.
Now to a real fight.
The
This
fight that was the talk of the Discord.
Wow, this guy here. First off, he's not. He's just so much better than you would think he is. Like he really is the new Khabib. Like I swear to you, like he.
Wow.
I didn't see Khabib, so
lofty.
This is a very hot take. But the dude is just good, and he's just a mauler. Like I can't explain it. He could have finished too, but he took it slow. He took it slow. He didn't rush himself. He didn't gas himself. He kind of did with a little wrestle, because he was very wrestle heavy. As we see, he's going to be
for sure.
But like,
yeah, well, I think that that was I believe one thing that I heard in the bits and pieces of commentary that I was catching was that I think that was kind of on purpose. It sounded like his team was telling him to keep a slower, steadier pace. And look, man. I mean, this is one I had mentioned earlier that I aided on a couple of my dark horse predictions. Sadly, this was one of them. I after seeing Elvis Brenner in that his fight that last time where he got that massive cut, an amazing amount of blood for a fight. Talk about a bloodbath. That was one of them. I really was higher on the dude. I thought it would have been a really nice underdog victory for him if he could have pulled it out. I think that the strategy really paid off if that was the coaching that Orlabai had, because it was a really nice, like what I said during the fight was that he was doing a really good job of not letting Elvis get to a position that he wanted to be in. He was just really bullying him in a lot of these, it's sticking to him like glue, making sure that if he moved this way, he flowed with it. That's something I'm very big on, is going with the flow of a fight. When, you've got two guys that are both trying to be very explosive. If you can follow the motions as well as steering it in the direction you want it to go, extremely high fight IQ kind of stuff. I mean, still early on to say, if that's the level of fight IQ that he's rocking with, but from what we've seen so far, I mean, I'm on the hype train if there is one. I mean, everybody's talking about the caveman cometh.
I'll say another thing. It speaks, because you were big on Elves, whatever, and
Elvez.
It speaks to how good he is, because he took this dude to decision, and this dude's going to be finishing people. He's going to keep finishing people. And
for sure.
You look at some, records, and they got some, like, they'll have a bunch of KOs, and then they have like a spotty decision or two. Like I would understand it if it was something like this. Like Elvis really did have some moments where he was, reversing the positions, and he was having a good time. But like Orabali's he's relentless. Like
Yeah. I mean, it's really one of those types of performances where if you're locked in like that, and you're not allowing for the separations. I mean, even when you are, you're setting it up for the next set of motions. Like, he was doing a lot of things right, and it was I think the only thing that I would have liked to have seen more from him was a little bit more of the striking. Obviously, he's very heavy in the wrestling. That's fine. I would say if not the next to be, maybe the next Shavkat, perhaps. I mean, there's
There you
potential
go.
for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're definitely right about Elvis though. Is that, I mean, like, when he was getting his shots in, they were decent. One thing that I thought that I noticed about it was that it looked like he started to gas a little early, and that kind of concerned me. Which was strange to me because in the fight previous, where he got that cut and then came back to win. It didn't look like that was as much of an issue, or at least at the time, I didn't
Right.
mentally, make a note of it. So that was slightly concerning on Brenner's part. But I mean, hey man, I'm riding with the caveman now. Why not? I mean, it's another one now. I mean, that's to me a very solid victory. Over a guy that I thought could have really pulled it off. The next fight's going to be a very interesting one for him, just depending on what level of competition they give him.
Yep. I agree. Next. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. This was a fight that was also frustrating, only in the sense that I was bored out of my fucking mind.
I just bet for it to go to decision.
Well, then congratulations.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina, like, she's a sweetheart. She's been around for a very long time. I mean,
Didn't retire, so
yeah. It might have been time. But I mean, she was on a decent little streak though for coming into that
three.
though. Yeah, so
it
right.
actually
So,
might have been last four. Like
yeah, she had, because so she had I mean, because she had gone through a couple of like ups and downs. I mean, I think we even talked about that when we were on stream together. That she's a little bit checkered there. Two streaks of like one big loss streak. A couple, like, she's been checkered in like this big win streak, pair of losses, double wins. A lot of losses, a lot of wins. This could be starting another loss streak. Does she want to stay around for all that? Who the fuck knows? You know what I mean?
I mean, gosh, I don't know how. If this is how she fought her whole career, I don't know how she's been around so long. I mean, I guess to just fill the division, but like, wow,
yeah,
like those
I mean,
5 losses, you would think like after 3, it's like kind of spotty after that.
For sure. I mean, I don't know if there's what the full-on considerations are. I guess, I mean, perhaps the
demographic.
Yeah, the Polish demographic. I mean, I guess she's attractive enough that maybe there's an element of that too.
Go.
I don't like to go too. I try to keep it analytical about the
right.
But as far as what the quote unquote star power element of it, I mean, maybe there's a little bit of that, but. At this point, I think you are right, though. I think that they're really, it's these women's divisions. A lot of times, just they need the depth, and she was game. Give her that. She's stick around for quite a while, and
she took some big shots in that fight. She
for
actually
sure,
did
yeah,
have like a busted eye for like the later half of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that really the most telling thing of the fight was that Lucinda wasn't able to get a finish. I mean, like, she was doing her work, but like so many times of just clenching it up and just neutralizing. That is, I'm never one to say that fights get boring because they go to the ground or anything like that. I think that's a very casual take. But what I will say is that when it gets to the point of strictly neutralization, that's when a fight becomes boring. Is that if you have to be active, always be active. No matter where you are in positional terms, you always have to be going for something. You make you're advancing towards a goal at all times. That's what I like to see in fighters. And in this fight, it just really was kind of a meh all around, in my opinion. I mean, there was nothing that like really stuck out to me as like, wow, that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, no, nothing to highlight in any real full on respect. So
right.
Again, we talk about the sleepy element of this card. I'd say that that's another one that you'd possibly put in that camp. So
okay, well, and then this one, wow, this next one was.
So what the fuck was this?
I was honestly so confused. One, why the ref stopped? Like, it's a leg cut. What did he see to think like, I gotta make sure he's okay? Because like, we've seen legs get broken, like fractures and stuff. Like, I mean, It ain't that. Like he was still out there. And then the doctor, man. Wow, the fucking doctor.
This guy putting his fucking finger in that
The
wound.
one of the
Pro-
fattest fingers
Prod.
he's got. Not his pinky. He didn't put his pinky in there, man. He put like the whole index and like swirled it around. Like, dude,
Motherfucker was writing his name in this dude's leg. I
that
swear to
was
God.
so crazy.
Yeah. So the cut that was not that it was bad because of the blood. It was not that bad in the terms of stoppage wise. It's a cut on the leg. This is not exactly a threatening grander harm in the big picture. What they said on the commentary, I believe, is that the doctor thought that it could be broken. However, the doctor should have realized that Jack Shore was still putting full weight on it. There
Yeah,
was no reason to stop this fight. It was a terrible stoppage.
yeah, and like it's another thing that you said, like the blood. I see a lot of people talk about how much blood it was. We've seen a lot of blood on people's heads before,
Oh
like
yeah.
faces and the legs where we draw it. And I'm just actually so baffled on what the doctor was hoping to achieve with the finger, because after like the post fight thing came on, and I think Dean Thomas was there, and he was like, yeah, if you ask the fighter, does this hurt while you're sticking your finger in his leg, like it's probably gonna hurt. Like,
Yeah, no shit. I mean, this was such a terrible showing from the essentially the commission. I mean, and you know how I am with the commission. I try
yeah,
to follow these things pretty closely, and I'm pretty critical of them often. This was a very bad look for the commission. I mean, this doctor, it smacked a little bit of the, I believe it was the Saudi Arabia card. With the I talked about it on YAMMA last year, where the it was the Johnny Walker fight, Johnny
right,
Walker and Magomed, where the doctor comes in, says, "Where are you?" He says, "The desert," and he calls the fight off.
yeah,
I mean, granted, completely different set of circumstances, same level of incompetence, I would say, as far as the doctor not knowing what he is looking at in MMA terms. Very bad stoppage. Felt bad for Jack Shore. I mean, granted, I mean, it was not looking like he was really getting the better of Joe Anderson. So, I mean, sad way for that to have gone down. It might have still been a bad decision for him in the end, but you don't want to see that. You don't want to see it go down like that, man. I mean, what a dumb way for an otherwise fine fight to play out. I was just really just sitting there watching this whole thing play out. I mean, just watching this doctor twirl his finger around inside of this man's leg. I don't want to give away too many of the jokes in the upcoming
yeah.
Yamma episode, but one that I will say here is that watching Jack Shore's leg get digitally stimulated was not on my UFC
Yeah.
301 bingo card.
Well, another thing that I'm like upset about sometimes with stuff like this happens is like these dudes don't get paid. Well, actually, Joe Anderson does, but
Yeah, I
like,
don't get the win
yeah.
curse.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, in Uncle Live and Johnny Walker's case is more or less the better example, because like that fight just gets stopped, and neither one of them get show. They probably don't get the show money or the win money, I would
Well,
assume.
they
But
get the
like,
show. I mean, you're always gonna get the show. You showed up.
okay, okay, okay.
But
What
yeah,
what
yeah.
was the fight that didn't get the? Oh, Wonder Boy. He
Oh
Wonder
well,
Boy.
yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah. That's a whole different story. Yeah, that was the story with that one. Briefly to touch on it was that that was when he was fighting Michel Pereira, who we'll talk about in a minute here. And then Pereira was coming in overweight, which was a problem that he has had many times. That's something that we'll touch on that in a second. But he Wonder Boy refused the fight because in the past he has fought people who have come in overweight and lost because that extra weight. People think those 1 or 2 pounds don't make a difference. That is absolutely not the case. Hey, what up, Aurora Iris? How you doing, homie? That those 1 or 2 pounds make an absolute fucking difference, and to refuse the fight. I mean, the organization doesn't like it. We understand this. We get that, but you shouldn't. He did show up. Just give him his fucking money.
One more example I'll bring up. So, because the fight just got booked, I'm trying to find his name. Um, So there was the fight where the dude got a cup check and he walked away from the fight and the ref like waved it off like pretty immediately and he turned around and he's like confused. His name is Gamori. Well, he's fighting Peyton Talbot now and he's gonna get his ass whooped.
Ooh,
So
that's a problem.
yeah, and I'm already thinking like, well, he already had some issues and kind of pushed out, and the ref had to call it or whatever. That's what it is. Call a spade a spade. Peyton Talbot is just gonna whoop him now. Like, I mean,
Peyton Talbot is next, bro.
yeah,
He
dude,
is
he's
next
crazy.
up. That kid is he's got a screw loose and I love it.
Dude, his division, that's a hard division to say. Like, who really is up next? Because like, wow, like so much could happen, and so many people are good there, man. Like Corey might go out and smoke Umar. Umar ain't faced a ranked opponent yet, man. Like,
Well, and I mean, after his last fight, where he essentially just wet blanketed that was one of the most boring fights I've
yeah,
ever watched in my life. So, I mean, like, I think that Sandhagen has a great shot of negating that. I mean, Corey is wise to all of that shit. He's not going to be one to be, just laid on.
yeah,
So, we will see what happens there. But anyway, circling back around here, yeah, no, they'll both get their show pay. But yeah, no, no possible win for Jack there. I mean, that was
yeah.
going to be how that was going to turn out, unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, it probably would have been a similar conclusion. I would gather. I mean, that first round wasn't looking like it was going his way either too much. But I mean, it's just a dumb way for a fight to end. All things
Facts.
considered.
All
All
right,
right.
next.
So,
Wow, this one. See, and you were talking about me listening to the Discord earlier. I didn't listen to him. Actually, you know what? I did throw a little on it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did throw a little on it because, like, I'm a, hope, whatever. One of
uh
them's
huh.
gonna win. It's either gonna be Ehor or Paul Craig. I threw money on both of them, and it wasn't either of them. It was fucking Anthony
Kyle and
Smith.
Paul Craig.
Yeah, Kyle. Sorry, but well, no, I put money on Ehor
Oh,
as well.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So,
Okay. And did you fucking
yeah, I got
crap
what
out on both
I got.
those?
I got what I deserved on that actually.
Hey, that'll happen, man. But
Because
yeah.
we'll
Okay.
talk about Ehor, but Kyle, Paul Craig is just so not good. I don't know where people saw the vision. He's slow. Like, okay, moving down in division, right? You would think like the skills would be more enhanced. Like, okay, he's like tall as fuck for the division. Kaio's pretty tall too, actually, if we're gonna talk about it. 6'1" to 6'3", and they're both
Yeah,
small.
for sure.
So Paul is just slow. His hands don't get up to block, like, and then he's pulling guard now because he's getting whooped on the feet. Like, it's just not
Yeah,
good.
that was. I was like, bro, this ain't it, man. Like when he started doing that shit, I was like, ooh, this is not gonna be how you want this to go, bro. Like you're not going to like again the intention, right? I can understand it. If he's getting a lot of offense thrown his way. It mentally the thought process makes sense, but I was just like, dude, this is not it ain't it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you end up making those kinds of decisions. This is what ends up happening, unfortunately. I mean, now, it wasn't that wasn't the sequence that led to it
Right.
necessarily, but it was the beginning of a very bad line of sequences that did ultimately end up in a knockout for Kaio, which really nice one. Not gonna lie, the
I'll
man's
say
got
this.
power.
He's got power. Good thing you said exactly that because I don't think he's as great at striking as maybe we're led to believe after that one. Because Paul Craig is just really bad at defense. Like the flurry that knocked Paul Craig out, it wasn't like a super technical combination. Like he just ran in and threw punches and then bounced bro's head off the octagon. Like
Yeah.
it was so bad how he folded him. Like it was actually picture perfect for everybody who didn't like Paul Craig and was going against him. That was the perfect fucking ending. Like, but man, I didn't think he deserved all that, man. After betting the, jeez, oh, it's bad.
Well, I mean, I think the real question is Paul Craig going into gatekeeper territory?
I don't even think he can gatekeep. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. He beat some top people. He beat some top people, but I don't see it no more. He
You
ain't
don't,
get.
yeah?
He's not
You think
taking
it's
the
over,
damage.
over?
He would take the damage and then submit him late, whatever. Well, as you can see, he just got beat on like really bad and put down. Like what was
Yeah,
it?
and I
In
mean,
round two, okay, it wasn't round one. I'll give him that. But
Yeah, and you know, I mean, once you're racking up that those types of losses, man, it's just it ain't good. It really it starts to set a little bit of a precedent.
because he's a pretty popular guy, and he is ranked. Probably not. Well, he'll take 14 maybe, but he'll go up against somebody who is likely to be able to finish or be good against him. And like it just takes, I don't know, man. They're not gonna throw him up against a submission artist because it's styles make matchups. So they're gonna throw him up against a striker, and he's probably gonna get cooked on the feet again. Like I don't. What do we expect? I don't know.
I, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what his next fight offering is going to be and how he looks in that. Because yeah, it's just starting to the cracks are starting to show, and it pains me, man. I'm a fan. You know, he's fighting out of Scotland. You know, we don't have that many Scottish fighters, so that's cool. Fellow Jew, you know, we
Yeah.
talk about representation in
There you
MMA.
go.
not many Jewish fighters. We got him and Natan Levy, and that's about it. So you know, I was like,
Yeah.
I got to support that as well. I mean, I was rooting for him, but yeah, I mean, these fighting nerds, bro. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, what can't they do?
Yeah. So
So,
we'll talk about the first one, then I'll bring up the point, or
mhm.
not the first one, but the next one.
Yeah.
Ihor and Michelle. Right when this fight was about to start, I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, these odds probably shouldn't be this far away. I think Ihor could pull something off, like just as much of a possibility that Michelle could, maybe. And then the fight started, and wow, like Michelle is just hilarious. Like he's just a goofball. First off. And then second off, he can finish. Like I don't get.
So I mean, did you watch the last Michelle Pereira fight?
Yes, where he got the body shots and then got him up against the cage and then submitted him or whatever. Yeah.
And with that knowledge, you still thought that the odds should be closer.
Well, because I was actually big on Michelle like before that last knockout. I was thinking like following the highlights, I'm seeing this dude. I'm like, why isn't this dude the fucking GOAT? Like, okay, I'm buying the hype. And then his next fight, okay, he gets it done. And then I don't know why I thought Ihor maybe had a chance. I'm not gonna lie. The odds, I've seen odds be closer and not too far away. As much as they've been on this card, like the odds are polar opposite, which is to the point that North in the Discord brought up is like they favor the matchups towards the home country. And like this is what I'm noticing. Like I'm seeing terribly favored matchups right now. Like
Well, yeah, I mean, there is something to be said that you've got a card in Brazil, you've got a lot of Brazilian fighters on the card. I mean, there's always the accusations of possibly feeding, cans kind of thing. I would not call Ihor a can necessarily in any respect. However, I mean, after seeing what we saw, I guess the odds might have been somewhat correct because Ihor
that's what
got
I'm saying.
fucking mauled.
I mean, but like either way, I'm like 3 minus like 600s or close to it kind of deal, like back to back to back, like
Yeah.
and then they pan out. Okay, not the Anthony Smith, but the first two they pan out exactly probably how they should have.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
Yeah.
last one, that dude. We can talk about that one if we want now. Like fuck, that dude took a dive or something. Vitor is ridiculous. Like
Yeah, I mean, I think that no. Well, we'll talk about. Let's talk.
Okay,
let's hold on because I do have some more to say about
Okay.
the because I also have a lot to say about that fight too. I will come
Yes,
back
yes,
to that
yes,
point, but no, so the Pereira fight. This is Michel Pereira is one of these guys that has been frustrating from his outside the cage element to me because exactly what we talked about with the Wonder Boy fight. For so long, he was trying to go down weight for whatever reason, and I have no idea why. After the performances that he has had at middleweight, why he was doing that.
Mhm.
You are so much better at a natural weight. You're not having to have these weight misses. You're not having to have the heavy cut to the point that you're not able to move as effectively. Having to rehydrate, do all of the things that the weight cut necessitates when you're just fighting at a more natural weight. He is a natural middleweight. Let fight there, and you're seeing the results of it as in real time now. Basically, he's fighting at a weight that makes sense for him, and it's paying off in spades. So coming into this fight after that last performance, which was one of the best performances of the year so far, in my opinion. That I mean, the body work that he was doing in that fight was spectacular. Leading into a fantastic ending sequence. Looking great.
And
Um,
you're
yeah,
exactly, because like he came in with intent to finish, and like I
right.
figured if he did that for Eeyore, of course, like he's great, he's good enough to finish just about a lot of people.
Yeah,
But like I didn't know what Michelle was gonna show up, so I took a chance on that plus
for sure.
455, man.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I understand the thought, but I mean, like, the other thing I think about Michel Pereira is that like he is the king of the flippy shit. You know what I mean? Which we will talk about in a second there too.
Right,
But
yeah,
so that being said, a lot of times when guys are going for these big, explosive, flippy, spinny, all that kind of stuff, if it has to be thrown correctly and with
right,
intention, right? I mean, like if you're going for that kind of stuff just to throw it and just to put it out there as like, oh, keep your opponent on his toes type of shit, 9 times out of 10, that is a failed strategy to me.
yeah,
You're just wasting energy. Michel Pereira now is showing that if you do it correctly, it can be used very effectively. However, and this is a very big asterisk to all of this, that flippy shit that he pulled off, very, very illegal.
well, I didn't call it. Badger did. He said it. We were talking about it way early in the car when we were making our bets, and he was like, "I don't know, man. You gotta watch out." Like right last fight, Michelle almost got like a groin strike from doing the backflip. He almost got an illegal strike, and I can just envision it happening. And here we go. He lands right on bro's head with his knee. Like,
That was the most accurate backflip I have ever seen in my life.
yeah,
I was like, dude, how the fuck did you line that up? But that being said, I mean, so what they said on commentary, and this is another thing commission wise that I was like, just fucking pulling my hair out after like taking it all in, because in the moment I was so fucking impressed by it that it didn't even register to me that it was an illegal hit. I was just like, holy shit,
yeah,
But after, you step back for a second there. So he lands that knee. They're saying that a lot of it was on the chest. Bullshit. If you look at the way that the leg landed, the full extent of the stretch of the leg, some did land on his chest. Yeah, that is true. But enough of it landed on the head, and it is his leg. That is illegal. They're saying that what Anik said is that the commission, reviewed the whole thing. Now, it wasn't the fight-ending sequence, so I guess you can possibly put that into play. What Vitz King said, it did make a lot of sense. He was like, well, since it was not the fight-ending sequence, what you could say is that you take the point for the illegal strike. He still gets the sub. Same conclusion,
right.
with a
Good
point
point.
deduction. I mean, legitimately, that does make a lot of sense. However, the problem with that is that when there is an illegal strike, you stop the action, take
Yeah.
the position. You stand him back up if he wants to be stood up, which, assuming, in Ehor's case, I guarantee you he would have liked to have been stood up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, go ahead.
No, was it this card that we saw a position get broke or it didn't get broke for a groin, or there was a groin strike?
No,
And
yes,
then
it was this card. It was a groin strike that the ref just fucking put his one
no,
finger up
okay,
in
so
the
there
air.
was that
Oh
one.
no, it was the fence grab. That's what it was. Fence grab.
No, yeah, fence grab. He just took a point immediately
Yeah,
from Mictebek, I'm pretty sure.
right.
And then so there was one before it where it was a groin strike, and then he put him back in the position where the dude got the groin strike.
Yes, you are correct about that. Yeah, I forget which fight that was, but I do remember saying that on in the stream watching the fight. Yeah, it was like what he because I don't did he didn't end up taking the point. He just gave him the warning, right?
I don't even think he gave him a war. He just gave the dude the time, and then he was. I think it might have been like a quick little recess, and then he was just like, all right, back to the position. And I'm like,
Yeah, that was very strange. Yeah, again, this is going back to the commissions. What I say at the start of every stream that is not in Nevada, basically every card that is anywhere else outside of pretty much Nevada or California, is that you're dealing with commissions from elsewhere. And even Nevada and California have their own slew of issues that I've covered on the channel, plenty of times.
right,
Every commission is going to handle it case by case. Basically, one of the things that makes MMA so interesting to me is how subjective it all is. You're dealing with small motions that happen very quickly, rule set that is as all encompassing as it can be, however is it cannot be all encompassing just by the nature of the sport. So, there's always going to be slight little deviations and stuff like that. That all being said, in a country like Brazil that has this storied history of high-level mixed martial arts going all the way back to fucking Vale Tudo, I mean, you would think that they would have a little bit more of a handle on this shit if you're fighting under the unified rules, which they are. So the whole thing with all of that, everything that we just brought up, the Pereira fight, the reset of the position, the fence grab, taking the point and not stopping the action there, it just all added up to a very strange set of circumstances, and to me, not a very good look for the Brazilian Commission. I think that, and it factor in the doctor into that as well.
Yeah, exactly. That, and you know, it's good that we take note of that, because we gotta hold them accountable, man. Like, they can't be fucking this shit up for us.
That is literally why I cover it as much as I do on the channel. That's why, actually, if you go back, youtube.com/@YAMMA show for anyone watching on other platforms. Shout out to Aurora Iris over there hanging out with us. But if you go to the channel, go to the videos, the Atlantic City card. I covered that, I did a full card review of that one, because for that exact reason, exactly what you just said, holding the commissions accountable. You cannot have a fucking fight ending sequence that is a 1-2 eye poke. It is unacceptable. You can't have that. Yeah. There was just so much of that type of shit. Just in this one, not as bad, and it's like John Anik said, legal enough, but legal enough is not good enough, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
Sometimes, man, this shit matters because it is dangerous.
Like, it's dangerous. It's fucking, it's the purses. It's the health of the fighters. It's the records. It's the entire sport is predicated on this shit. Yeah. You don't get to redo fights. You know what I mean? Even if you run it back, that record does not, the winner or the loss stays where it's at, unless they overturn it. But you really want to go through all that shit? You really want to have to be going in front of a fucking panel to explain why, your guy fucked up? Like, I shouldn't have to go in front of you to tell you that you fucked up.
Bruno Silva's doing it blind right now. Yeah. It's crazy.
How about that?
All right.
Anyway, all right. Let me bring it back down to earth here a little bit. I get heated about the commission shit.
No, we're good. It's good. All right.
So, all right. So, you're thinking that Vitor Petrino was diving. Vitz thought that Jonathan Martinez was diving. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I don't think no one is diving in MMA, folks. It is a casual take to say that there is diving. It's a disrespect to the fighters who are putting in the work, getting the wins, I believe. Anyway, I'll leave that there. But what I would say to that the Petrino versus Smith fight is that to say that Petrino wasn't doing his thing is to take away from the very slick guillotine that Anthony Smith locked in very early on and got so quickly in that fight.
Anthony Smith can do whatever Anthony Smith wants at this point. I don't care, man. He gonna be the best. He gonna talk. He gonna come into a fight and he'll probably lose the next 3 and then he'll win the next. The last ranked opponent that he's gonna get, that'll be the one that he wins. That's right. Just how it's gonna go. But and then Vitor, okay, so the fact that he's smiling after that shit, walking out the arena after he lost a bunch of money for him, I normally don't care, but the smiling was crazy after this guy's club so fast, and he was gonna lose anyways. He was limping so quick. Anthony Smith didn't even throw that many light kicks, and he was already couldn't put weight on his front foot, and then the guillotine. Brother, this guy he was, I'm pretty sure he was just done at that point. He's like, man, my fucking leg is killing me and I'm not gonna do that, so I'll just word.
I mean, I think that what was interesting might not be the right word, but to me kind of fascinating was just that Anthony Smith, even after all of that we have seen from Anthony Smith, the good and the bad, it's really impressive to me that he is able to still generate the power that he needs to. Because, we're talking about, I use Johnny Walker as an example a lot of times as a guy that you don't want to lose to. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, it's not a good look. And in a fight with Johnny Walker, he's in there looking He went into the Twilight Zone. That's the fight where he was, saying how you're trying to, mess with my family or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
you're trying to attack my family.
yeah, yeah. It's like, I mean, he obviously got put into a mental state that was not all there, right? So it's like, he has been through some fucking wars. I mean, like, the dude has put in a lot of work. I mean, his record shows that. I mean, his record is insane. I mean, as far
He's
as
almost
like
at 40.
yeah, dude, right? So Anthony Smith at this point is, what's the actual number here? I mean,
Might be 35.
yeah, 38 and
38, never
19.
mind. Damn, man, I didn't think
Insane,
that
dude.
close.
I mean, the amount of fight, the amount of times that the dude has been around the block and still able to do his thing. I mean, like, look, I understand why people don't like him. I get it. I understand that he's opinionated in a way that people don't like. He comes off as a little bit arrogant. He comes off as a little bit slightly delusional to some people, this and that. But the guy gets in the cage and fucks your parlay up all day long.
Facts.
I mean, you got to give it to him. Like I don't see the same things that other people see when they look at him, I guess.
And that's what I was, I said that night. I was like, see, and this is why you just gotta bet your favorite guys, because the Anthony Smith boys back home that put all their money down because they were like, man, my guy's gonna get it done. I know they're living large right now.
Very much
they're
so.
looking good.
And oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and it's just like, so the point I was gonna make before, if you take away how much we dislike Anthony Smith, he might be the light heavyweight Jim Miller at this point. Like,
I mean, that's an apt comparison. I think that could very well could be.
maybe not even at this point. Probably has been for a little bit, but
yeah, just sticks around. Just taking the fights that they give him. I mean, still ranked. He's still, I mean, what higher now, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he'll be higher. I mean, he beat somebody below him, but
I think they'll still move him up a rank. Actually, did the rankings come out already? Let's see if they did.
See, and like, I guess that's another issue we can maybe get into. Maybe it's not even an issue, but your opinion on it is like we said earlier. Umar, he hasn't faced any ranked opponents, so how is he ninth?
Oh wow, yeah, you're right. They didn't. Damn.
Yeah,
They didn't even move him up a smidge over Volkan Oezdemir. You couldn't have given him number 9. Damn, that's. All right. Anyway, sorry. What was the question you just asked?
But yeah, I mean, it's with the rankings, and the movement. It's like, why should Anthony Smith move up? I mean, in your opinion, because like with Umar, he hasn't faced any ranked opponents. How's he ninth then? Like,
yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, Umar is getting hot shotted, I think, and that's yeah, I don't agree with that. Let's see. So one thing to keep in mind about the rankings in general, the rankings are decided by essentially.
Popularity.
Yeah, it really is kind of a popularity contest, because really what it is, it's the, I believe it's the MMA media. There's like a ranking, not a committee, so to speak, but like a pool of people. It almost reminds me of like the Oscars, where it's like, there's like all these people that like have their voting rights in the Oscars or whatever. Like, it's a bunch of people that have been granted a position to say what they think the rankings are. So it's not necessarily like the organization saying like, this is who we want. I think there might be some, maybe they get a vote or something like that.
Right.
But it essentially is, yeah, a little bit of a popularity contest to an extent. So, I mean, why I think he should have moved up is because he did get that win over another ranked guy. I mean, look, that's, it's not like he was
the game,
going.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, and also, when was the last time Volkan Oezdemir fought?
yeah, I have no idea. Him being over him is probably crazy, but just looking at the facts of he's 10, he's 15, 10 beats 15, I don't see the movement happen there. But
well, I mean, a lot of times you'll get a rank up just because of the win and where the other people that you are ranking over in that scenario are as well. Like, what their standing is, so to speak. I think really talk about the popularity contest aspect of it. I think that that might play a little bit of a role here, because it's like, I mean, I've seen plenty of fighters who have fought down and got a number up.
yeah,
At least a single place.
I don't check it until we get on here and we look at it right now.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon, but I think that there's a little bit of there might be a little bit of that showing with Anthony Smith. It's like,
you hate or love him, and you either hate to watch him or you love to watch him, and either way, he's gonna be there and he's gonna get pay-per-view fucking spots. So
For sure. And I don't think that I hate or love him. What I find I find him fascinating, I think, is really what it comes down to, because of what a fucking hot and cold fighter he ends up being, and how he just always has the potential to fuck it up for everybody.
yeah,
You know, for anytime you bet for or against him, it's just like, stay the fuck away from Anthony Smith fights. Either
no,
way,
actually, yep.
you know. So
All right.
anyway, yeah,
Well, and
interesting
then
guy.
we can talk about the rankings on the next one. Do you think Jose? Well, not do think Jose Aldo is going to be ranked after this. So
Well, I mean, if he wants to stick around, right? I mean, that's, I think,
true.
the biggest question of all of this. That what the from what I've understand or come to understand of this, that was the last fight on his contract. I don't know if that's necessarily the only reason he was coming back, but he did have one more fight left. Took that whole time to retire. We talked about this in the last stream. You know, where he was going to be coming back. Comes back and has just a fucking textbook Jose Aldo performance. I mean,
Yeah,
what a stellar look for him. I mean, silence any doubt of ring rust or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, give me a break. He looked to be as good as he ever was. Now, granted, Jonathan Martinez was fighting a little bit scared, is what it seemed like to me. I think that what we talked about on the watch along stream was that I think with Martinez, it was a combination of things. I think that in one part it was the starstruck aspect of it. You know, you're fighting a legend. You know how dangerous he is. I mean, that, it's got to be in your mind that's like, wow. I mean, like, this guy, has the potential to be pulling some kind of, some really heavy shit on me. I think that's part A. Part B is that after that might have worn off a little bit, like when it was like, starting to get into the later round one, starting into round two, it was like, okay, now I see what's going on here. I have to start doing stuff of my own. And by that point, Jose Aldo was already feeling himself and starting to overwhelm him. Wasn't able to come back. I mean, I believe he's another Mark Montoya guy. I think that's who I saw in his corner. Whoever his coach was saying to him basically, you need to finish now. Like,
yeah,
in that third round, he was like, you're down two. You need, it's all or nothing now. Wasn't able to come up with it even at that point. And Jose Aldo, yet another credit to the amazing fight that he had, and one of many, many amazing fights that he has had, as fresh in that third round as he was in that first. I mean, the cardio is insane.
yeah. Jose, now looking at the number 12 and unranked, I understand why it's not a 5, but man, that would have been a really good one to see 5. Another 2 rounds of Jose, probably wouldn't even make it because Jose probably would have finished them out of exhaustion for Martinez or whatever.
Yeah.
But speaking of retirement, you would think he would retire in front of the crowd, like.
Yeah, the whole thing is a little bit odd to me. It's what we were talking about on the last stream, where I was like, he decided to retire when he did. I don't think he needed to. What Vitz was saying on the watch along was that, oh, well, maybe it was like to get all the elements right to come back as good as he did come back. Fair enough if that's the case. I don't even think that I don't think he needed to announce even. He could have just taken some time off and just said, hey, I'll take a fight when I take a fight kind of thing. I'm at that. It's Jose Aldo. He's at that point in his career where he doesn't have to, he's got nothing left to prove. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. So it's like, he didn't have to announce retirement, decided to retire, has the one fight left on the contract, comes back, has an amazing performance. What is next? What is the, so, I mean, ranking, if he wants to go on another run, I don't see why it's out of the question. I mean, it's a little late in the game for him, but he is a legend. I mean, it's not impossible. Can he do that against the higher ups in the division still? That's a very big variable, I would say. I mean, based on that performance, I would say yes, but I mean, the amount of offense he was receiving on the other end, I don't think that he's going to be getting anywhere near that little from the higher up in the division. I mean, these guys are going to be out there to, they're definitely not going to be starstruck by him,
Yeah. One more point on the retirement thing.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Dana didn't want to give Henry like a second retirement because he already retired once. And then Henry was going to like get on the mic and do something, I remember. And then
but nobody likes Henry.
Well, and then that's the point I was going to make. I know Henry's obviously not on the level of Jose Aldo, so maybe Jose could get a second retirement. But again, you would think with the crown, the moment's there, you just gotta win. If you even had like slight thoughts of it, like this would be it. So I don't think it is, but
I have heard the rumor, and this is purely a rumor. I honestly really, really hope it's not true. I have heard the rumor that he might go to boxing.
nice.
And yeah, I mean, would it be good for him? Probably. I'm not a huge boxing fan. I know we've talked about that as well. You know, you're kind of in the same camp that I am. It's they're two different sports, and I prefer MMA.
Yeah,
Would it be a good move for him? I mean, with the hands he's got, it wouldn't be a bad look. I'm sure he's got as good a possibility to do okay as anybody else coming out of MMA. I just, man, after that, stick around, man. I don't
I
know.
know.
I love watching the guy fight. I'm not gonna lie. He's a legend for a reason, you know.
Bro is a beast. Yeah, like that was the first time I got to watch him live, so it was definitely great to see a fucking W performance. I didn't get to see dude slumped out,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that was
No,
good.
so I mean, and as far as Martinez goes, it's a hard one to say. I mean, I like the guy. I think that he's a better fighter than he showed in that fight. I think that I think that he would need to he needs to recalibrate a little bit. I think that he needs to become the fighter that he wants to be. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I think that that really was what showed there. Yeah, when it comes to this level of the game, when you're ranked 12th, I mean, going into that fight, like you need to show that you're top 15, material. I mean, like
yeah.
you
Got
can't
to
go
take it more
into it.
serious.
Yeah,
Be
yeah. I mean, or just not give the respect. It's like, look, dude, I'm glad that you did what you did. It's cool to be fighting you. Now I'm gonna go kick your ass.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's
I get it. Yep.
So
Business.
yeah, exactly. Stand on business for sure. I mean, it's a tough one because I do think that he is better than he showed in that fight. We'll see what happens going forward. I don't think that this is gonna like be a huge setback for him in the big picture going forward. I mean, like I think that he could come back, get a couple fights that are probably a little bit more appropriate for him. To kind of tune him back up, get him to where he should be, but remains to be seen. Kind of an unfortunate showing in that regard, but always potential to bounce back. So hopefully he can do that.
Cool. Main event.
Main event. What'd you think, bruh? What was
Um,
that? What the fuck did I just say, bruh?
it was really good. Okay. So I'm pretty. I think I only saw Pantoja versus Moreno. I don't think I saw him. No, I saw Roy Val. Sorry, not Moreno.
Okay.
No,
Oh, you didn't
no,
see
no,
it?
no, no, no. I lied because I think Moreno actually maybe won against Pantoja, but that was a
Oh,
long
and
time ago.
the
Yeah,
last of the quadrilogy.
and then he smokes Roy Val, and then he's getting this decision merchant, tag. Which now that we see him go to decision, okay, cool, but whatever. Pantoja's good, guys. Like, why is that? Like, what is the deal? Like, why are people turning on the champs? Like, why are we not respecting greatness as we see it? Steve Urseg. I mean, okay, Wei Li and Yao Shannon, very similar to this. Very similar. Like, Steve Urseg showed that he belongs in the top, and he was also able to make it a lot far. Like his cardio was crazy. Like, how did he make it 5 rounds and still ready to go more after his third fight type deal? Like,
Yeah. I mean, okay, so to touch on a couple of the things that you said there, I mean, I don't think that the disrespect is necessarily coming from a place of like I step back. I don't think that it's disrespect necessarily. I think what a lot of people see is that the performances that Pantoja is putting on are not, to some people's opinion, and I don't even necessarily categorize myself in this, but I think some people would say that they are not champion level performances. That would be my theory, at least, as to why people are feeling the way that they're feeling. He's a dude that's very very heavy on like wrapping dudes up. He'll get those takedowns, not necessarily as active as you might want to see. I mean, it could be a little bit more, but really, I think that Urseg was not giving him a lot of real estate to do what he wanted to do when he did have the ground control and stuff. I mean, so that would be my theory as to why people are kind of on his case a little bit. Um, yeah, he is good. I mean, like, it's good. I mean, I honestly do believe though that I had Urseg 3-2. I had him up. I mean, I gave him those middle three. I think that Urseg's big mistake was in that final round. They were talking about it on the commentary, saying, they were rookie mistakes when he was getting taken down a couple of times there late. I would say that was enough to sway if you really wanted to get deep into the analytical aspects of it. I mean, really, all of those things, all of the elements there, the fact that he wasn't super definitive, the fact that the rounds were kind of close to pretty much throughout almost all of them. I mean, I'd say that Pantoja took that first one pretty solidly. I'd say that the second one was more solid for Urseg. Third was a little bit of a closer one. Fourth, I thought Urseg did fine. I think that was another one that I would have given to him, and then in the fifth he dropped. So I think that all of that being said, plus he's the champion, plus they're fighting in Brazil, it was going to go to Pantoja if it was that close. But I definitely think Urseg did a good amount there. I think he was a very strong showing for a number 10 guy coming into the organization as soon as he has.
And this is actually another one of these fights that when it goes into the record book under unanimous decision, like it just sucks because like that should be a split decision fight. Like
yeah, definitely.
But I don't know. Pantoja, one thing I will say is like I made this point on the stream. He always just looks tired, and I don't know why. That's just the way he is. Like when he's striking, like he just doesn't look like he has full of energy. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like
yeah,
but he gets to the fifth round. Like I mean, he makes it there. Like I don't, and he's ready to. And when it comes to his striking, I understand that he's not the greatest. He's obviously Julia Pena at sometimes, and I think maybe I need to start giving Julia Pena more props because of the reason that I don't like her is the reason that I like Pantoja. He's ready to just walk in there, chin up, and throw some bombs. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I think that one other difference between him and Juliana Pena is that he's also not a talker. You know what I mean? Like that's Juliana Pena got a lot of where she ended up off of the strength of her trash talk. She was actually a pretty effective mouthpiece in that regard. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because it's like, when it comes to flyweight in general, that was one of the big things that had me high on Urseg going into the fight. Like I put a straight on him after I had him on one of my parlays, busted the parlay earlier and ended up going back and putting another straight bet on him because I was like, I anytime that I see knockout power in the lower weight classes, I'm always like that. You got it, and you get something to keep an eye on for sure. And when he had that nice knockout in his last fight, I was like, okay, all right, this could be the deal right here. I think that with Pantoja, that all of everything that we've just talked about equals up to why the perception is the way that it is, and why I mean, like, when it comes to these lower weight classes, and with a lot of the divisions currently. I mean, I said it on the show on YAMMA and in the video that I did after Volk lost the title. We're in kind of a flux period when it comes to some of these the higher ups in the elites of these divisions. Like after this, the flyweight is a great example of it because you're so. Looking back in the timeline, you're coming off of a long rivalry between Pantoja and Moreno. You know what I mean? This is now that was the fourth time that they had fought.
People are wanting it again. That's the crazy part.
Exactly. I mean, and it was great enough to warrant it. I would count myself among those people. I'd watch them fight again for sure.
Yeah,
that last
Moreno
fight was crazy
in that one. So we gotta run it back, I guess.
Yeah. I think he said that he's stepping away from the sport for a little while. Yeah. I think that's probably a good move for him. But that's the point. Is it's like that. There, when it comes to the depth of these divisions, especially after beating Royval for that second time, but even the fact that we're having to say that 4 fights with Moreno, 2 fights with Royval, it's like they're shaking it up. These shakeups are necessary. Yeah. So I mean, was Urseg hot-shotted a little bit? Perhaps. I mean, I don't know necessarily why. I mean, maybe the Australian contingency was part of that. Whatever the reasoning was.
Yeah.
point is that, like, I think that that the cycling has to go through. And Pantoja, I think he will eventually get figured out. I think that if you run it back with Urseg after that, knowing what he knows now, there's potential for that to go, go his way. He's going to have a couple, tune up or two, I mean, he's going to have a couple fights in there to, to solidify that he deserves another shot at it. But
Yeah.
if Pantoja is still on top after a couple more wins for Urseg, I don't see why that doesn't happen again. And, other guys coming up in the division, we'll see what they can do as far as shaking it up too.
I will say another thing that you saw with Urseg is he didn't like knock down Pantoja in a way that I would say he hurt him. But like when he got Pantoja with one of them elbows and like split him open the head, like Pantoja was like holding his head, like trying to it was like hurt, man. So it was like
that was because of a clash of heads though.
But I mean, well, still good point. It was a clash of heads. You're right. It wasn't an elbow, but he was still hurting, and I was like, oh shit, like Pantoja actually feels pain. Okay, like it was a cool.
Oh well,
like,
yeah, word. Good point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's not indestructible. I mean, the fights with Moreno would lead you to believe that that this guy can take anything. Because good lord, those fights are something else, man. Pretty much almost every single one of them. I mean, the one I think it was the second or third where Moreno got the nut shot that ended up essentially swinging the fight. That was unfortunate, of course, but I mean, those fights were fantastic displays from both sides. I mean, he's a dog, but he is touchable. You know what I mean? That's absolutely that's been shown. Royval even touched him a couple times. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't anything enough to swing it, but it was certainly it was a showing.
And so another thing I touched on last or Saturday, Pantoja is a person where I gotta trust the chin until it goes away, because like it's just how it works. I don't know how, I can't explain it to you, but it's there and then it's not. It may be the next one. If he don't face a power puncher next fight, there's no reason for me to think that he's just gonna get knocked. Like I don't know. And you can see back to the point, like he was hurt, from a head clash. He's a warrior. He will make it to the end, even if he's hurt. Like he's a beast.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, all of the other elements that play into it of, his story and, the fighting for his family and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you like to see it for a guy like that who's going out there and really putting it all on the line. I mean, that's literally what I'd like in a fighter. What makes my favorite fighters are guys that, they don't talk a lot of shit. They just go out there and fucking fight with all they got. And he's one of those guys. So, all respect to him. I definitely do think that the perception is colored by what you said earlier, that he does just look tired. It just has a tired face about him. So that I think that kind of like gives people the impression that he's more worn out than he is. But he goes out there and, tired or not, whether it is, him actually showing what's real or if it's just the way he looks, because they even said that on commentary. They're like, that's just how he looks.
Exactly.
It's like, fair enough. I mean, that's a fine point, all well and good. The guy goes out there and fights for 5 rounds. And, I mean, whether he is as fresh as he is in the first round as he is in the fifth, I don't know about all that. I mean, I do think that he does start to wear a little bit. The gas tank does go eventually, but all of the opposition that he's taking to get to that point and giving back, I mean, it all equals up to a champion for sure. I mean, there's no reason to not give him the respect he deserves.
Facts.
So, yeah, overall, I mean, I want to see Urseg succeed. I think that he's got a lot of potential, and I think that it was a little bit of a quick ascension. I mean, we talked about how Bilal not getting a title shot before him is fucking insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he can come out there and do good things. That's basically the takeaway for me overall. Fine win for Pantoja. I personally, like I said, I think that Urseg kind of took it. I wasn't like super crazy mad. I didn't think it was a robbery or anything like that. But I would like to see Urseg continue to develop. I think that he's got a lot of potential to be a top guy going forward. And I think that for what it was, with all of those things that we just talked about in play, a really nice performance for him.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta argue with me, Steve. He came out with the Best Buy shirt, and he put on a show, man.
Hey, man, you know, IT specialist Steve Urseg, he can go out there and fix your computer anytime and then fuck your shit up.
Facts.
So that's 301, everybody. That was yeah, I mean, that's that in a nutshell, man. You know, so I mean, overall impressions, I don't know. I mean, I guess we talked about it already, but you know, I mean, a couple little snoozers in there, not a bad card.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. Like I missed the first two. Like I was kind of in and out, trying to figure some shit out. But after I was involved and ready to go, man, I had a good time. It was a
Yeah.
real good one. I can't
Yeah.
argue. I can't argue with pay per view weekend, even fight night, bro. This weekend that we got coming up is gonna be good too.
Yeah, so what is so this is the Nascimento fight coming up, right? Nascimento versus Lewis.
Yes.
So, all right, I mean, we can just do a little quick. We don't have to run down the entire card.
Yeah,
We've been
no.
going for a little while here, but let's do a little bit of a preview here.
Hand pick some.
Yeah, you know, I mean, so really, I mean, you know, in this Nascimento versus Lewis, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit in the Discord, and I think a lot of people are not putting any kind of respect on Nascimento just because of how much of a fan favorite Lewis is. We all love him. Come on, Black Beast, you can't not love Derek Lewis. That's MMA law. You gotta love Derek Lewis. But I mean, Rodrigo Nascimento, he's pretty solid. I mean, you know, he's who has he fought? He's fought some decent guys. He's fought names that you know. I mean, like decent. Decent is the operative word there for sure. Decent, but you know, I mean, he's not fought complete cans. He's been in the UFC for a little minute. You know, 11-1. That's at this stage, you know, to be headlining a card. I think very appropriate to be headlining it against Derek Lewis. That's a big ask. You know, I think that this main event's going to surprise a couple people. You know, I'm not saying that he's necessarily going to win. I'm just saying that, you know, I think that there is a lot more potential for it to be entertaining than not. And I think a lot of people are counting him out unnecessarily.
I don't know much about Nascimento, but if this dude is gonna not finish Derek Lewis, I don't really care for these 5-round fucking heavyweight fights like this, man. Like,
that is a great point.
like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I can't sit through another Jailton Derek Lewis thing. Like, if this dude's gonna wrestle with Derek Lewis, like, why'd they book it? Why'd they book that shit? Wow.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's going to though. I mean, that at least wouldn't be my
Well, I'm looking at his record right now. Decision. Oh no.
But I mean, okay, you know, fair enough. You got a couple subs, so maybe he might wrestle. I don't know. Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
That's crazy. But either way, probably that guy by decision. Now that we've just discussed that, because Derek Lewis knocking people out. I mean, it may happen.
Yeah,
it didn't happen to Jailton.
Yeah, you know, I guess the big question is, does Derek Lewis come in with another amazing flying knee?
Yeah, I don't. You know, it's actually crazy to think, but it would be more. If you think he would do it twice, I think that's more unlikely. I think that's the likely bet to put that he would do it, because nobody thinks he's gonna do it. He might as well do it again. Like, I don't know.
It would be fucking. If he could pull that off twice, that would be insanity.
All right,
but yeah. So, you know, all right, we'll see what ends up happening. But I mean, so I think actually one thing before we move on from that, I think the biggest question that I would have, if Derek Lewis loses, is this getting into retirement time?
Well, he's already in gatekeeper territory, so he can stay there if he wants, and they're gonna pay him. They'll headline him. He'll go up against. He can go up against Spivak next. Did they already fight? Probably. But
I mean, the fact that he's even headlining now, yeah, they did fight. I believe, I'm fairly certain they did.
That's the only. That's the first Slav, I think, off the top of my head. Every time.
But yeah, no, I mean, gatekeeper. Yeah, I mean, I guess,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, to him, though. Rematch it.
Hey, that actually might be the fight to make if he does lose. But yeah, I mean, if he wants to stay around to this point, 27-12, man, that's a lot of fighting. You know, a lot of big guys, a lot of big shots that he's been taking over the years, giving them out too. Of course, obviously, dude's a legend. But it will be interesting. That's my biggest question for that is if he's, you know, if he loses, is it going to be time to hang it up? I mean, you know, I think that that's one of those philosophical things that you get into with fighters in general. You don't want to see a guy like Derek Lewis, who everybody loves, get into Tony Ferguson territory. You know,
Yeah,
you just
I
don't want
get you.
that. So, all right. Anyway, what else do we got? We got,
Co-main, the
yeah,
co-main. Do we
I
know?
love
Okay,
this co-main.
this might be a stupid question, but now that we've seen Guskov get a fucking co-main 5 round, was it 5 round? I don't think maybe it
No,
wasn't.
I think that was a three
Okay, so
rounder.
maybe this will be a 3 rounder too then. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will. It's fight night, so yeah, it's probably a three rounder.
true. But Ruzabov is probably going to get this done.
I mean,
Look at how many fights he has. Do you understand? Like, he's coming into the UFC with 34 wins. Like, what the fuck? This dude is an animal.
well, so what we talked about with that though is that he is coming out of I don't know if
Out
he's
of
a
nowhere.
Dagestan. Well, that's I mean he's I don't know if he's a Dagestan guy, but I think
No.
he's
He's
of that.
Uzbek or
Yeah, right.
Kazakh.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think he is Uzbekistan. So, but not that he's from Dagestan, but that like fighting in the those circles, so to speak,
Mhm.
because everybody talks about how Khabib has such a padded record. A lot of these guys, when you're fighting in that area of the world, there's a lot of motherfuckers fighting out there, man. That is the fight heavy region of the world. So these records, you will see a lot of times guys with these very large amount of wins coming into the organizations. But I mean, a good amount of losses in there too. You're right.
Yeah.
He's been fighting for a minute regardless. Take all of that, all of what I just said. That really does not apply because the dude has just been around. Period. And that last fight, I mean, dude, he looked great. Really, I mean, that was a really nice performance in that last one. Joaquin Buckley, I mean, I want to believe.
He's not a slouch. It's like
No, 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 no,
I'm
no.
not counting him out because obviously anything's possible, and if somebody can make anything possible, it's a guy like him.
Absolutely.
But he was, and then okay, so I want to make the point. He was posting, that he got like the tallest dudes from like the boxing club to train with or whatever, and he was having them to other heights, and it's like he still couldn't find somebody as big as Ruzabov. Like
How
that
tall is he?
I think he's 6'5".
6, yes, 6'4".
Okay, yeah, bro. Look at the height differential, 5'8" to 6'4".
Yeah, buddy.
It's gonna be hard, but
God, 6'4", 170. My man.
dude, I know, and he just fought
beastly.
at 185. That was the crazy thing. So that's gonna be an issue that we have to keep an eye on. It's like, what is he gonna do about? Is he gonna make the weight like comfortably?
That's a good get. Very good point. Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna have to keep an eye on that one. I'm not as familiar with his like lineage to know if he has done the cut before. Any times. I mean, the weight cut is the fight before the fight. They always say it, and as we talked about earlier with Mr. Gomez, it can go very wrong. So,
yeah, because I mean, what I was gonna say, he just fought on the Chris Weidman card.
That's correct. So, yes, he did. Yeah,
he was at 85 there. The fact that he's already ready to go and he's gonna drop an additional 15 or whatever. Like,
yeah,
man, like if he not comfortably, but if he can handle doing that, like this dude really is just, I don't know, like how do you go into a fight with a dude who's got 6-7 inches on you? Oh, and the point I was going to make, I was a big fan of Chris Curtis against Brendan Allen, so maybe I shouldn't be so thinking on the height differential because Chris Curtis, he's way shorter than Brendan Allen, but he was giving it to him when he got on the inside. So
that is true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, height plays a factor, I think, more so when it's if they're strictly going to be at range. What I think Joaquin Buckley does well is that when he gets inside, he is good with quick combos. Like he like if he's going inside, he'll take a 1 or 2 to go in there and get 3. You know what I mean? So I think that if he can go in there, if he's not going to back down, I mean, Joaquin Buckley has, I mean, he's game. He's one of those dudes that he'll go in there and muscle you around. I mean, we saw it with Vicente. I mean, he gave no respect to Vicente Luque.
I had to think about it for a second, but yeah, now I remember, that fucking performance too.
Yeah, he'll go in there and do his thing. So I mean, like, if the height is going to be any kind of like an intimidation factor to him, I would say probably not. I think it's just a matter of if he's like goes in there, make sure that he closes the distance, gets in tight, gets those shots in, moves out quickly. That's another thing. You like when you comes to the shorter guys. I always say that like it's the there's two moves that I like a lot. It's you do the stutter step like the slide steps, so to speak, where it's like you're inching your way in so that you can get into a quicker, like a quick 1-2 position and then get back out.
Yeah.
Those two are the combination that you want. Get yourself in, get what you want out of it, get the fuck out of there. If you can do that, and Ruziboev, I don't remember from that fight if he was throwing heavy kicks. I don't
think so. I was gonna say I think Buckley might have a kicking advantage, and also to pair with his height. I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I don't think he has very long arms like Ruziboev. So like, is his height really gonna make? Yeah, see, same like. Is the
That's
height
crazy.
really a big difference? Yeah, he's kind of like, and he doesn't have broad shoulders either. Like he's like a real compact,
Yeah,
tall person. It's kind of
legit. And and the thing too with Buckley is that even as a shorter guy comparatively, he's built like a brick house. I mean, the dude, as far as the just physique doesn't equal power. We know that, but
he's one of those people that could probably be fighting up like very convincingly, like Dricus. I think Dricus could be well into the light heavyweight division. Like he is so massive for that fucking class. Like
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, interesting fight. I'm very excited for that one. Actually, I always like to see Joaquin Buckley fight. I mean, I always have to bring up the mule kick. I mean,
he fucked him up, man.
That is a highlight for the ages. So he's always going to be in the history books one way or another. We're just gonna have to see what ends up happening with that one. I'm looking forward to that fight a lot, actually.
Yep. Let's see. Anything else to make note?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, this one I know a lot of people are very bored with. I think this would be a really nice showing for Carlos Ulberg if he can beat Alonzo Menifield, which is very possible.
Mm-hmm. Next one, I'm not too worried about.
Yeah, Rebecca. I mean, I'd like to see him win too. He's been on a pretty nice tear lately.
The next one, Sean Woodson's probably gonna mop. Sean Woodson is actually so good.
Sean Woodson is really good. Yeah.
And his height is like, it's just unfair. Like I remember the last fight that I was watching with Jourdain, probably, or it may have been the one even before that. I was thinking like, please don't let this dude match up against Volk. Like this will be really bad. Volk will lose his title to a guy like this. But obviously it didn't fucking make it that far. But Sean Woodson, like you just can't take him down. Like he's so tall. He has that when you get the single leg and you run the pipe, he just stilts his way back to the cage, and you just can't. And then his boxing, like he was a boxer. Like the dude is just, he's got a good package to start with. He might get subbed, but I don't think Alex is maybe the dude to do that.
Fair points. And you've seen those pictures of him when he was fighting heavyweight back in the day?
Sean?
Yeah, Sean Woodson.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so fucking mind-boggling. But anyway, Sean is deceptively good, I would say. You know what I mean? He's one of those kind of unassuming looking guys that just from looks alone you would definitely not think that he'd be as good as he is.
Shorts high as shit. Like he's got long ass legs. Like he's built so weird. Like but I love it, man.
I mean, he is fighting Alex Caceres, who is a battle-tested veteran at this point. He's had his losses. But I mean, Caceres. One of the things about Caceres that I would say, and it's a very rare thing, but he seems to be one of those guys that's getting better with time. Like, I like just based on some of the last performances. Maybe I'm way out of my element on this one. But I mean, let's take a look at the records. I mean, okay, did lose to Giga, that sucks. But I mean, after those last two,
with Sadiq, Youssef, that's kind of.
No, lost to Sadiq.
Oh, sorry. I'm reading. I can't fucking read that. Boy, he beat Chase Hooper. How about that?
Yeah, and he beat the Sancho Kevin Kroom. Yeah. So anyway, we always have to do anytime I see the name Kevin Kroom, got to bring up the fact that he is scum. But no. I mean, okay, I did forget about the Giga fight in that assessment. Perhaps I am a little out of my element on what I was saying, but I mean, it just seemed, especially, I think on this win streak is where I kind of was thinking that the most, was that it was like, I mean, because this is already at fucking, 20 plus fights here. I mean, 30 plus fights here at this point. So I was like, man, if he's amassing win streaks like this 30 fights in. That's, you know, a nice showing, a nice sign that he might still be able to, you know, to pull something off, but perhaps also kind of gatekeepery in a way. I mean, you know.
Well, and I was gonna say gatekeeperish. I mean, you lose to Sadiq. Okay, that's not a bad loss. I mean, especially you don't get knocked out by that dude. Like, okay. Then Daniel Pineda. I feel like I know who that dude is, but maybe I'm thinking of someone else. And then Giga. We don't know if that's a bad loss yet. Giga might be. He's got his next fight coming up. I think. I feel like I saw him booked.
Yeah, I think that he does. I don't remember. I mean, I was Giga bothers me because I was really, really high on him for a little minute. You know, the kicks, the Giga kick, you know, it was something to be reckoned with. Got a win in his last one, so I mean, you know, you know.
Oh, he beat Alex fucking. Yeah. Oh, duh. We were just looking
I don't know.
from the opposite side.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're yeah, right. So
Beat Barbosa though. I mean,
that's what I mean. You know, it's like the Giga kick was legit.
And fucking TKO'd him. Jeez.
Yeah, and Cub Swanson, one of my favorite fighters, got a win over him on that. So I mean, like, you know, these are good wins. You know what I mean? It's like they're like I was
right there 304.
Yeah, that's I'm good with that fight. I'm good with that one. I think that's a really nice that to me is a great fight because that's going to show which one of the two of them has the ability to hang. You know what I mean? Because Arnold Allen,
it's got to be Arnold. Arnold's going to be the one to last.
You think so?
One. Dude, he's what I've seen him do, one against Hooker, and then two going to the bell swinging with Max. Like, I mean, Gaethje couldn't. A lot of people get knocked out very quick by Max. Well, not very quick, but they soon find out Max can put them down. So.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, Giga has, you know, he's taken some damage and not recovered. You know, I mean, like,
and he's coming off injury too. I'm pretty sure.
That was in his last fight. He was coming off the injury, so I mean, you know, potentially
I mean, August 2023. I mean, Holloway and Korean Zombie last time he fought.
Yeah. So. You know, yeah, I mean, he's saying he's back, you know, I mean, look at the win streak that he was on before that, you know, it's
And Calvin Kattar, you understand why he would lose that is because he would just get wrestle fucked until the bell, like, so.
Well, I mean, which is amazing considering the abysmal performance that Calvin Kattar put on against Aljamain, but that's another story altogether. Yeah. I was so disappointed with that. Like, he really did not show up in that fight. But, yeah, anyway. So you know, we'll see if Giga can pull anything off in his fight coming up, and same for Alex Caceres, right? I mean, you know, if there's anything left to you know, he also Alex Caceres. One last thing about him is that, you know, he is very zen. You know what I mean? He's one of these kind of like doesn't let a lot of shit bother him kind of guys. He seems like you know, lets it all roll off his back. So if he's just comfortable kind of being one of those dudes that hangs around and you know, is a gatekeeper essentially, then yeah, I mean, it could be a nice win for Sean to start really boosting him up and getting him to where he wants to be. So interesting fight.
Well, the most interesting fight.
You're not lying.
So I don't know if you guys, I've said this before. They say it on the announcement all the time. And Waldo does have pictures on his Instagram. He played for the Cincinnati Reds, like G League.
Waldo Cortez. Yeah. He was a baseball player.
So that's my guy, I guess. Like, I mean, like, I love Robellis. Like, obviously,
you and your fucking Ohio.
So Robellis, look, if I'm going to make a case right here, he keeps his hands really, really low. Waldo throws a lot of overhands. Listen, I don't want to see it happen, but Robellis also could just go out there and smoke him really quick because Waldo's not great. Like, I mean, he's just your typical heavyweight. Like, he's just going to go out there and throw slugs like the Arlovsky fight. Oh, not Arlovsky. What's his name? Fucking
was it
Arlovsky.
Was it Andre Arlovsky? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was his last fight. Yeah.
Boring decision, and it's like, you can't finish the old man. Like, so I lost faith on that one, even though he did win.
I mean, really, like, he's another one. I mean, his record is you know, great, 11-1. But again, he's one that when you say who has he fought, I mean, I think it's a little bit more applicable to him. I mean, a win over Andrei Arlovsky at this point is not super impressive. I
And it
mean, like,
wasn't an impressive win. He
correct.
arguably lost, I would
Yeah,
say.
I mean, so there you go. I mean, and
Lost to the dude that got kicked or kneed in the face by Derek Lewis. Like, it's can't
so
make
yeah,
it up.
was it? Oh yeah, that was. Oh God, I forgot that was him. Yeah,
Yeah.
good lord. And then yeah. So I mean, if Chase Sherman is one of your more notable wins, I mean, you're going up against this crushing machine, at least that we've seen so far. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I try not to buy into the hype trains. When I think that there's more to the equation, Rebellis is just all of the factors because okay. The thing I will say about Rebellis that does not get brought up as much because of how much he's been steamrolling dudes even before the UFC, but in that last fight most especially, dude is a bronze medalist in Taekwondo. So I mean, we're not talking about some dude who's just a big for big
Yeah.
and just throwing shit
He's
wild.
not
I mean,
Stefan Struve.
yeah, right, exactly. Definitely not big for nothing like Stefan Struve. That is one of the most unfortunate cases of a huge guy not equaling up to the potential of a huge guy. I think Rebellis is a completely different story. I mean, the dude is bronze medalist, Olympic Taekwondo, huge as fuck, powerful as fuck. Obviously, I mean that last fight, like granted, it was against that was Tanner Boser, right?
Some fat white guy.
I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
Some dude.
Oh no, Josh Parisian. That's who it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Grant, that, easily mistaken between the two of us. Yeah. I mean, so granted, that fight did not show all that much because of the sequence, but consider the sequence. He was on Parisian was on the forward motion.
Yeah.
Rebellis was on the back foot, knocked him out off of a back foot shot that didn't even look like he was throwing with that much intention. It really looked like more of a I wouldn't say it was a defensive strike, but it was really more of a like you're coming at me, so I'm going back. You know what I mean? It was more of a squabbly kind of thing than anything else, and knocked him straight out cold. So I mean, dude, I like I said, I don't like to buy into the hype trains if I think that there's more to the equation. Until I see otherwise, Rebellis has my vote. And I think that if Salsa Boy here is able to pull it off, it's going to be a very, very big notch in his record because I mean, just based on like I broke down the numbers. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but like the entire Rebellis Despain has been in the cage for like a total of 5 minutes in 5 fights at this point.
Yeah.
That's how quickly he has been finishing these fights.
What I will say
yeah.
About Rebellis is I could totally see, because when you see great people, by the time they're great, they got the highlight film of them knocking the cans out, subbing the cans. This will be the one where he gets like a smooth head kick on Waldo, noodle legs him, and puts him down. Like, so I think Rebellis is probably going to win this, but my Cincinnati guy.
Hey, look, man, go for him. It would be very impressive. I mean, what's the differential on this?
No, the reason that this matchup is made is because it's not gonna be it's not gonna be a back and forth. Like this fight was made because they were like, okay, this dude couldn't put out Arlovsky. We're gonna put him up against our boy, and just give him a free win. Like, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
but we ain't seen him knock out. Like we haven't seen him take big punches. I don't even think in the Arlovsky fight they got into some big exchanges. I don't think that ever happened.
Nah, not to any major extent. But I mean, the tail of the tape is quite a tale here. I mean, it's we're talking about fucking the 84-inch reach. I mean, this is insane. I mean, like that's the other thing about it to me is it's like to get to the knockout, you got to be able to get to the knockout. You know what I mean? Like. He'll be able to get in there. I mean, this dude's got 3 inches on him, and a handful of inches. I mean, this is it's quite a differential. So it would be a very impressive win if he can do it. Rebellis Despain, bro. I mean,
thing I'll say about Rebellis
please.
Is his style, the way his stance is, and how big he is. He needs to stay away from the apex because I don't know how. Like they always talk about how it's it's a different fucking size or whatever, and that makes a big difference apparently. But either way, he's probably still going to struggle in the regular octagon. I feel like anybody who can get him up against the cage, it's going to be a quick process. It's only 1 or 2 steps back, like maybe 3, and then he's already like kind of cramped up because he can't have his open wide stance. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't think Waldo's the one to do that. But if you get somebody who can, tactically work their way into cornering him, uh, I see a hole in Rubella's game right there. But
That very well could be. I mean, we haven't seen enough footage of him to know. But you make a good point. I mean, it's another. I put it in the same category as MVP for different reasons. Because what I said about MVP is that I think that he is a solvable puzzle. You know what I mean? The puzzle that is MVP, I think someone will be able to figure out in the UFC. Rubelas to Spain, that very well could be the case too. Now, I think what will make the difference in that circumstance is what Rubelas is able to do if he gets put up against the cage like that. If the clinch overwhelms him, if it turns into a neutral state sort of deal, yeah, I mean that would kind of suck, and it might end up taking away a lot of his most valuable assets. If he's able to be active in those positions, that really should be what he's training the most, right? I mean, if you don't need to train power, you already got that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my next point. Is like the UFC will be very tactical with his, like they're not gonna give him Jailton Almeida because he's just that ain't gonna be no Rubelas fun time for us. Like they're gonna give him the dudes that we're pretty confident he'll get out of there and pretty fucking fast.
For now, I mean, until he gets up to the point where he's able to be in the conversation legitimately. I mean, eventually, if he works his way up, Curtis Blades is hanging around. I mean, because Curtis Blades is going to be able to do what Jailton Almeida wants to do. You know what I mean? And that's we saw that in the fight between the two of them. So it'll be an interesting one. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him fight again, and more fireworks, hopefully, man. I'm telling you, I am on the hype train currently.
Facts. All right, let's see what's on the prelims, and then we can wrap it up here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, Chase
versus Vyacheslav Borshev. I love this fight. This is a little bit of a sleeper card, man. I think people are sleeping on this unnecessarily.
I think specifically this fight. Okay, so the card's really good. I like a lot of people on here. The fight with Chase and Borshev, I, as a Chase Hooper fan, I've been making a Chase Hooper edit, and I'm watching like the fights and stuff, and I just don't see there's a chance for him. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think Borshev is gonna fuck his day up. Like,
oh really?
On the feet.
Okay.
I mean, Chase maybe can. He is good at wrestling and submissions, but like I don't know if he'll make it that far. I really don't want to see Chase Hooper get slept. Like, and this might be it.
This fight right here. Nazim Sadikov and Borshev. Did you happen to see that fight?
What card was it on?
It was on 295.
Oh, well, most likely then, yes.
Yeah, it was the one that ended up being a draw. It turned. I think it was a majority draw.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yes, I do know which one. We may have even talked about this fight.
We might have, because it was one of
good fight. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was a fantastic.
You agree is a draw.
Correct. Yeah, I think we did talk about that actually. That's exactly what I said. It was it is one where you at the end of it you're like everybody wins where the fans won. So I mean, based on that type of ability in Borshev, Chase is definitely up against a heavy competition in that Chase is really nice with his grappling. I mean that and now starting to come into his own with the striking a little bit more than he had in the past. There is potential there as well. I would lean towards Borshev, but that's another one that I'm definitely keeping my eye on. I mean Chase Hooper is a fun one to watch one way or another. So yeah, I like that fight. I've got
Terrence McKinney. I mean, he's on Twitter a lot, but I don't really know much about him.
He's okay. I mean, he's one that anytime I see his name, because they show the tweets on the broadcast a lot, like he always comes up in the tweets. I'm just like, yeah. I mean, to me, it's like be an analyst, bro. But maybe I'm talking reckless on him a little bit, but I'm not super high on him. I mean, like I've seen a couple of his fights, and why does this Sherdog not even show up on? Okay, I was just say like gotta Scroll down for his Tapology.
Mike Breeden.
Hell yeah, the fucking dog Mike Breeden.
Yep. Beat up my guy Anshul.
Oh God, yeah. That was the one of my Mount Rushmore fights of comeback victories.
Yeah.
If he had made weight, he missed weight on that one, unfortunately. But so yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, he did, and he got cut. So.
Yeah, I know. That was so crazy. I really I don't know why they ended up cutting him after that fight. It's a little bit strange to me.
He gained so many fans. He gained so many fans.
Made a fan out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember. I probably had seen him fight at some point in the past, but I didn't remember him by name. And after that, I definitely remember him now. But so this is Terrence McKinney's record. I mean, you know, nice little win streak for
Beat Matt Favola.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's had a couple of okay ones. I mean, but, you know, lost to Bonfim, who just got a nice victory that we just talked about earlier.
Oh, the flying knee. Okay, I got you. I've seen that.
Yeah. And lost to Sadikov, who we literally just talked about in that you know, the fight with Borshev.
Yep.
You know, a win over Mike Breeden. You know, Breeden's 13-6. I mean, you know, he's not exactly like super top tier. He was losing that fight against Anshul that we were talking about. So
arguably,
you know,
it could have been the barking kind of swayed everybody's decision.
Hell yeah, it did. Well, I know he ended up getting the knockout.
Oh, that is
yeah,
right. Yeah. Anshul don't have cardio. That's
I mean, I think that Anshul was just fucking over. Like, I think he frightened him.
He don't know what the fuck was going on.
I think he got crazy on his ass, and Anshul was just like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" And then got caught slipping at that point. But because he was having such a really nice technical fight up until that point. Yeah. But anyway, but yeah. So I mean, you know, this. I'm not high on Terrence McKinney. I'll be perfectly honest. I like. Could he win this fight? I mean, it's not out of the question. I mean, you know, I don't think that there's anything to say that it's not possible. I mean, Esteban Ribovic, he's been doing pretty good himself. I'm leaning towards Ribovic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Baby Shark versus Tisha.
Which one?
She I guess. Right, because Tisha got married. Tisha Torres married Raquel. How sweet.
What? Oh, what? Where?
Oh yeah. Oh, they've been together for a long time.
Huh. Okay. Well.
Yeah, they've been partnered up for a minute. But I didn't know that they actually tied the knot. But Tabitha Ricci versus Tisha Torres Pennington knee Torres. Not one that I care super much about either way. I mean, Tisha Torres has been around for a minute. Tabitha Ricci's been doing okay. I mean, did she lose her last fight or did she win her last fight? That I don't remember. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought she was coming off a loss. It was against Lupi. Yeah. So you know, I don't know. Pick them.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Your guy Charles Johnson or Fitz's.
Yeah, dude. the man who fights every week.
Yep.
I versus Jake Hadley. I think that I saw him fight once, but I don't remember what his. Yeah. Okay. So he. I think that was the fight that I saw was the Cody Durden fight. A win over Malcolm Gordon's not anything to write home about. I would say that if you know, I think Johnson's biggest issue is that he fights so very often. He needs to not be taking this Kevin Holland approach. I think that he needs to maybe get a little bit better with his fundamentals before he takes fight after fight after fight. I think that would be a smarter approach for him. This fight, I mean, Jake coming off of a loss would be a nice win for him. I mean, Charles is definitely a bigger name in the grand scheme, I guess you could say. I would lean towards Charles with it, but could be a good showing for Jake.
Cool. And then I guess the last one we'll make a brief note on Veronica Hardy.
Whoop. Yeah, I know all you guys are simping over here.
And JJ Aldridge, I'm pretty sure is not very good.
Yeah, she's been pretty spotty. I'd say Veronica could probably take that. I think that's be a nice win for her.
That's not to act like Veronica Hardy is something great. Like,
I'd say neither of them really.
I mean, same thing with like Tracy Cortez. Like, she's just not very good, guys. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, you know, you got to call it like you see it. I mean, you know,
yeah,
it's there. You know, and I was talking, or we'll be talking in the latest YAMMA episode about Paige Van Zant a little bit, and taking all of the other stuff that why she was in the headlines out of it. You know, she kind of I think is the archetype of the kind of like one that was getting the push, probably not for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I would think that that these two kind of are in a similar sort of echelon as I would put someone like Paige in. Game fighters, you know, I don't think that either of them are going to go out there and just get walked all over.
yeah.
But at the same time, neither technically sound enough to really like be making great statements, even if either of them wins. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that going after that is going to be like, okay, now you're ready for the big times. You know?
Yeah, I think this one is definitely a seat filler. Like, hey, come here first for the hot girl. I mean, you're not really here for the performance. I mean, she probably will put on a great performance of it against JJ.
Is she that fine like that though? Let's.
She's pretty cool. She's pretty cool.
All right. Yeah, she's not bad. Yeah, that's a nice shot of her. Anyway, all right. Keeping it about the fighting. Keep it about fighting. But yeah,
So-
no, you know, all right. It's a fine way to start a card. Whatever, you know, get your popcorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's what we got going on as far as this upcoming weekend. That is this weekend, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
No, is it?
Yeah, 11th.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the 11th. Cool. Okay. So yeah, all right. So you know, we will. Both of us will be on our watch along streams. Make sure that you are subscribed to the homie Chase Parton here, creative player. I asked you to shout your stuff out last time. You weren't able to. Are you able to this time?
No, you're good, man. We'll get it down someday.
All right. So one of these days we're gonna get you all branded up. We'll get you to where you need to be in that stuff. But you're very active on Twitter. What's your Twitter?
Creative Parton.
Creative Parton.
Parton, man. There you go. You'll find me.
Absolutely. Follow the homie. Make sure that you're supporting his stuff. I will be here at YAMMA Show. We will be on all of your streaming platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, and Kick. So anywhere that you watch streaming, pretty much, you can find YAMMA Show. We will be watching along independently. We will come back again to discuss these fights as we have today, hopefully for a good amount of time in the future. I enjoy doing this with you. So good stuff, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you were chilling, watching along, we appreciate it. And we will see you in the next stream, y'all. Take good care. Have a great evening.